One of my favorite snacks lately, seaweed chips. Listen to this crunch. Hey, how are you? I am standing in front of the white void where I shoot my thumbnails for my main channel videos. If you're watching this, if you're listening to this in the podcast, I'm in front of a white void. I just thought I'd just do this whole video standing up for you, just to change it up, change things up, get crazy. I just put up the procrastination video on the main channel about how procrastination can be good, and I just shot the thumbnail for it not too long ago with a couple clones. If you check out the thumbnail, you'll see that I used a couple clones in it. It's hard to wrangle those clones and then have to make sure they jump back into the alligator pit afterwards because you have to kill your clones. Today, another update on the no sugar, no alcohol, no social media. This time, I'm gonna delineate between them. This isn't gonna be just a free-flowing conversation. This is gonna be organized. This is gonna be tight. Actually, I have no idea. It's probably gonna be meandering again, but I'm gonna try to separate them instead of have them all bleed together because they are different things, mostly. No sugar. Compared to the last time we did no sugar, it's easier. I think I was eating less leading up to this time than I was leading up to last time already. But I got some seaweed chip in my mouth. There's no added sugar in the seaweed chips, by the way. But yeah, it's okay. We have this big vat of M&Ms in the cupboard, in the cabinet. We also have waffles. Occasionally Ada will have a waffle for breakfast. We're not restricting anything she's eating. She can eat what she's been used to and what she wants to eat within reason. And so I'll see occasionally be like, oh, that waffle looks pretty good. Or those M&Ms look pretty good. But it's not that hard really to not have it. I can have apples, I can have bananas, things with sugar in them, or raisins, which we've talked about on here. And if I feel the craving, I just have that and it satisfies it. And I think that after the first few days, it's hard to separate how I feel not eating sugar with how I feel not drinking alcohol. I imagine the not drinking alcohol has a bigger effect. But overall, I'm losing weight. It's pretty easy to to reduce my calories, to not eat too much because there's less options. There's less options, but I don't really feel like I'm missing anything. I think we were already doing pretty good, and I was already not drinking soda. I think if other people try this, if you regularly drink soda, if you regularly like sugary sodas or juice, which technically juice you could say is not added sugar because they do add sugar to the juice because it's sugar from the fruit, but we don't count that. Easy for us to say because we already didn't drink juice, but if it's made from concentrate, if they're just taking the sugar out, they're taking all the fiber. Juice is basically taking a lot of the benefit of the actual fruit out of the fruit, and you're just mostly getting the sugar with a few other, other things in there, just not as much fiber, not as much nutrients. So it's really just kind of like having a lot of sugar. So I think it's kind of a cop-out to be able to drink juice if you're going to do no added sugar for a month. But hey, you can make your own rules. Do whatever you want, whatever is easy for you to, if you want to reduce your sugar intake. But there is the annoyance of having to pay more attention to what you eat and less options, and you have to constantly pay attention to that. We're being less strict this time because we have bread that has like less than a gram of added sugar in it. The first time we did this, we would have said no, or I would have said no. China can do what she wants, but she usually tries to adhere to rules that I'm adhering to. But this time we're like, nah, we can have that. Our salsa has a little bit of sugar. We can have that, like less than a gram or a gram. We have had pizza, which probably had from a restaurant. So it's hard to know for sure, but it probably had a little bit of added sugar in it. We're okay with it. We're being a little lenient on that because this is an extreme. We're getting rid of a lot of things, and it's not like, I don't think it's that detrimental. Pizza in general can be too much pizza, too much bread. You can argue it could be detrimental depending on what you're trying to do. But the big thing is just cutting out like bowls of ice cream, bunch of chocolate, bunch of M&Ms, bunch of, like really sugary things that are just the bits here and there that are just inconvenient. It's fine this time. We're not, because the goal here is to be healthier and to maintain good habits going forward forever. That's my goal anyway. So if we're going to be unrealistically strict, that's just not sustainable. So I'm just trying to be sustainable. I've already decided what we're doing right now, I'm going to do for the rest of the year. To a degree. I might make a few exceptions here and there, but the danger of making a few exceptions here or there, then it's like, oh, well, I did it. This is just an exception. Oh, this is just an exception. And then I'm just doing it every day. I'm not going to do that. So I'm going to really try to strictly maintain this. No alcohol, no sugar the rest of the year. Social media I'll probably be less strict about unless I see myself really falling back in. But right now, it's fine. So that's no sugar, no alcohol. Again, so it was my birthday yesterday, by the way. I'm 40 now. Yeah, yay! And my sister brought over some wine. And China and I had like little tastes. So again, we're making a little bit of exceptions. Just I had like two or three sips of wine just to taste it, and that was fine. But most days, almost every other day, we had one other time where we tasted wine that my sister brought to my parents' house. So we've had 2 days where we had a little taste. Every other day, 0 alcohol, and it has been fine. First 5 days or so were great. Like I felt really good, and that's sort of worn off, and now it's just kind of normal. I think I'm sleeping better. I do have headaches now. The past few days, past 5 or so days, I've had headaches, and that could be unrelated. It could be several things. It could be that I'm staring at the screen, working too hard. I've done a lot of editing the past several days. I don't normally get headaches though. Could be because of the reduction of calories, because I've been reducing calories and losing weight, because in December I'm doing the sort of the result of doing strength training for the past 6 months or so, and trying to reduce the belly. It's sort of making it a goal to get the belly down to somewhere I want it to be in December. And so I've been keeping track of calories, and maybe I overdid that a little. Maybe that's the headaches. Maybe it's the withdrawal from the alcohol. Maybe it's the sugar. I don't know. It's not good. I've increased my calorie intake again, and it could also be that I took a little fall on the stairs 5 days ago or so, 5 to 7 days ago. I was walking, my legs slipped, and I grabbed the railing and I swung down and hit my back, and that still hurts, and like the back of my neck kind of, and I think and it goes up into my head. I think it's probably a result of that fall on the stairs, but it's hard to say for sure. I should definitely see a doctor for this, and as I say it out loud, it sounds like I really should, but it's not. It doesn't feel that major to me, but yeah, that's an issue. It could be like a little bit of a mild whiplash effect. Like maybe a theory of mine is why I grabbed the railing and I swung down and like I braced my head so hard that I didn't hit my head, but like I braced it so hard that I kind of got a bit of whiplash or something. I don't know. I wasn't planning on bringing this up in this video, but here we are, because I don't want to make it sound worse than it is, because it's really not that bad. But I have been getting a little bit of headaches, and it could be because of the less alcohol, less calories, whatever. But I will say that getting rid of alcohol and sugar, but mostly alcohol, makes it really easy to reduce calories. Like I have to. That's a lot. It's a bunch of calories. I would have maybe 2 drinks per day. I could be around there. Maybe some days more, some days less. But that's a bunch of calories, and suddenly I'm not having that. And instead I'm having healthier stuff, or just not having those calories. And it's pretty easy to lose weight. I don't really miss the alcohol. I don't miss the buzz, the way it makes you feel. I don't miss feeling worse the next day. I probably in general feel better, except for those headaches. And it's not hard. Ultimately, like I think I can easily just not have it the rest of the year, and then hopefully develop a habit to just not have it, or just have it occasionally the rest of my life. So all in all, great. No sugar, no alcohol has been fantastic. I got my list on my computer over here, what I'm talking about. No social media. No social media, not that hard. All of this feels not that hard. When you just make a firm rule to do a thing, you're like, I'm not gonna do this, and then I'm doing it for video also helps. It's just not, I don't miss it that much. I don't miss the sugar. I don't miss the alcohol. What's something I really miss? At first it was part of a ritual. I missed like having a drink in the evening, or ice cream, or some fun snack in the evening after we put Ada to bed, or while she's awake and she's partaking in the snack. She's not partaking in the alcohol though. I guess at first I missed that. I don't even miss that now. I just don't even think of it now. Maybe because this is like after all these months of quitting things, I'm used to the feeling of eliminating things. But it's not even, I don't crave a beer really. I don't crave a cocktail. I don't crave sugar. I think sugar especially is something, sugary things, the craving for that really does go away after a little while. The problem is when you reintroduce, when you're not telling yourself I'm going to quit for a while, the problem is the why not. Like, well, why not? I'll just have a little bit. Why not? And then that will get you to start craving it. The eating it itself gets you to eat more. The stopping itself gets you to not crave it. But you just have to have that external force, that goal, that I guess it's internal. I don't know. Just this. I guess I don't know. Internal, external. You say, from this point to this point, I'm not going to have any. Maybe you need an external force. Maybe you need someone to monitor you to say, well, or to keep you accountable. I have you guys, which is good. Because the why not is just, it's just a slippery slope, you know. But then again, like, truly, why not? Eat whatever you want, drink whatever you want, enjoy your life. If there is no why not, or if there is no why for not doing it, then fine, you're fine. I personally want to have more energy throughout the day, and I want to be healthier, and I want to look healthier, and I don't know. That's just what I want. But saying why not, it's so easy to be like, well, maybe I don't need more energy. Maybe I'm healthy enough. Maybe it's fine. And maybe it is. That could be true. I'm just someone who likes to set goals and work towards them. And so that's why it's so easy to fall back in, because because the goal that I have set, if you really think about it, you could really easily convince yourself it doesn't matter. Like, I'm fine, just let it go, just whatever. It's so easy to do that because you're right. Either way you go. If you want to watch what you eat, if you want to attempt to be healthier, you're right. But if you want to say that doesn't matter, I can eat what I want, my health is fine, or I don't care if my health is fine, you're also right. I don't think there's a right or wrong here. I mean, you could probably point at two examples of that are right or wrong on both extremes, but there's a large middle area, big gray area there where, yeah, I could try to be more healthy, or, who cares? And that's why it's hard. That's why it's hard to stick to habits, to stick to what you think are healthy habits. And there's a lot of conflicting information if you look into what you're supposed to do, what you're supposed to eat, what you're the exercise you're supposed to have. And you can convince yourself just looking at studies, reading articles of very opposite things that you're supposed to do. I have been Googling self-improvement tips because of the content I make, because of the experiments I've been doing on myself. I've been doing it for years now. And I have learned that it's really that most people don't know. And you can find an article to convince you one side or the other very easily. So the best thing I can do is just try things myself with a bit of education, as much self-education as I can get, or talk to an expert. But even them, you're going to find conflicting opinions. I'm getting a phone call and I got to shut it up. You'll find conflicting opinions from all sorts of experts as well. And when I feature them in my videos, so many people disagree. So many people will say, well, that person's a quack. That person's a crackpot. They don't know what they're talking about. There's a gut reaction whenever you see a so-called expert in media, when they're saying something that you, for a long time, thought the opposite. There's just gut reaction. Well, they're just dumb then. There's something wrong with them, rather than using it as a indication that maybe it's not so clear cut. Maybe there's gray area, or maybe I need to learn more. But that's tricky because sometimes they are quacks. Sometimes they are wrong. Sometimes they're not. They're just fake. Maybe it is actually fake. They're lying. But I think there are ways to look deeper and find out if this person is credible, to see where they're coming from, to see who has what interests they have. What's their incentive for saying what they're saying? Who's paying them? I think there are ways to find out varying levels of credibility, but it's also pretty easy to try to make something credible in your own head just to confirm your bias. I try to seem the way I seem credible. The only credibility I have, really, I think in general in what I do online, is just how present I am, how often I'm here, and how honest I am about everything I do. You can't. There's no way you can know how honest I am, but the fact that I'm out here doing this every Monday, unedited. Clearly, I'm not scripting this. If I were scripting these, I would be the greatest actor of all time. And the fact that I can just do this and then repeatedly put out videos about these things and try to show candid conversations with China and me, or with various people I talk to, You can tell when it's scripted and when it's not. I think you can. Sometimes you can't. People are pretty good at faking things, but I don't know that people are usually that good. When something seems very real, it probably is. Well, depends on what you think is real. I would say that a lot of reality TV you see on network television, that's not real. Like a lot of that, the way people are interviewed, the way people react or behave in group settings when the cameras are there, most of the time, that's not how people behave. But something like this, me talking to you, you can tell, like on YouTube, a lot of the time, if it's real. And generally, what I'm going for here is to try just to find the truth. I don't have an agenda other than the truth and my own self-improvement and trying to help you, or try to entertain you with jokes. And it's a little frustrating sometimes when I see a comment on, not on these videos, usually on these videos it's fine, but on a main channel video where I've looked at all sides of an argument and just try to figure out the best way to convey the information without seeming like too biased, too much espousing one side over another. And there are times that I've been wrong, but most of the time I won't talk about certain things if it's unclear to me what the answer is, and then people will accuse me of lying because I have avoided talking about a thing, or they'll take the hard line on the other side, which I've looked into and it didn't seem as clear as they make it seem. Again, I can be wrong, but it's frustrating when people will just brush off what I said as a lie, or I'm brainwashed, or I need to do my research. That's a good one. You need to educate yourself. You need to do your research, as if I didn't. Yeah, I don't know. That's just, I've gone far off topic here. I was going to talk about social media. Remember at the beginning of this video when I said this was going to be structured and tight? Ha! I knew it wouldn't be. No, social media is pretty easy. I don't miss Twitter. I don't miss Facebook. I was never going on Facebook anyway, really. Instagram, pretty much Twitter was my go-to, and I don't miss it. I don't feel uninformed. I'm going to news sites. I'm reading various news sites, and I started using Flipboard. Flipboard's an app that I'm sure a lot of you are aware of that kind of aggregates news for you based on your interests. I always was aware of it, and I downloaded it several times and started using it, and then didn't use it for a while. Now I'm using it more because I'm not going to social media, and it's awesome. Like it's throwing me articles that I wouldn't have read before. When I'm on Twitter, when you're on social media, when you're on the internet in general, even on Flipboard or various news sites, there's a severe FOMO, fear of missing out. There's so many headlines. I don't end up reading most articles because I feel like, well, I could spend time on that article, but I also want to know about this. Also, scroll down. What about this? What about this? What about this? It's really, because when you click to read an article, that's a commitment. That's a slight time commitment. And social media makes it 100 times worse because all it is just blurbs. Twitter is just like, check this out. This happened. Completely disparate subjects. And I end up reading far less, learning far less, other than like surface level ideas of what's happening in the world. I feel like broadly, I'm more aware because of social media of what's happening. I'm more aware of bits and pieces of what's happening all over the world from completely different subjects, but deeply way less informed. But I'm using Flipboard. I read a whole article about the future of the internet, quantum internet. A guy in Massachusetts who was doing, it's been a few days since I read it, so I don't remember it exactly, but doing experiments about the quantum internet and figuring out how to split photons, I believe it's photons, make two entangled particles, and you send them far away. If they're entangled, then what's happening to one happens to the other. So you're transferring information faster than light. This is how it works in the quantum realm. And so you can send them one far away and one kind of just a short ways. But the problem has been they have to arrive at the same place, or they have to arrive at their places at the same time. If they're going at different times, it's going to mess up their entanglement or something like that. But this guy figured out how to slow the one particle so that it arrives at its place at the same time as the other one that's going like miles and miles away, using a rubidium rod. And it was just very interesting to me. The whole article about the future of the quantum internet. I read that whole article. I feel like I felt more informed. I don't remember it all exactly now. You never remember everything exactly unless you read something many times. But I have a good sense of what's going on with that, and I was so interested in it. I wouldn't have taken the time to read that if I was just perusing social media all the time. It's much more valuable to me. Anyway, social media, great times. We started coloring. We started doing we got coloring books for adults. That's this month's challenge. We're in the middle of the no sugar, no alcohol, no social media. That ends on the 15th, even though I'm going to continue. But coloring began this month. We're doing with Iz Harris and Johnny Harris, YouTubers that you should check out. They're very good. And every night we're coloring a little bit just to de-stress. And so far, it's been pretty good. I don't really notice much of a difference. It is kind of nice to do something artsy craftsy that I don't normally do, because my whole life I've felt like I wasn't good at anything like that. But I'm gaining a little more confidence just doing an adult coloring book. Let me show you what I did. I'm doing this cities. It's a pretty intense, detailed thing. This is Peterborough, Ontario, Canada. And I started up here in the corner, did the trees. I did a bunch of stuff in this corner. And then I decided after that all the rooftops were going to be bronze colored. So the ones up here are not bronze colored, but I'm working on it. Got the roads, I got all these rooftops, and I'm just gonna get this whole picture done. It's taken me just like 10, 20 minutes a night, doing a little bit here and there. And I like it. I feel accomplished, even though I'm not done yet. So that's the thing we're doing this month. And I thought of another challenge to do that was very intense, and I can't think of what it is. I'll let you know in the future. There's that I might do in the coming few months, as long as China approves of it. I can't remember what it was. Darn it, there was like a really, probably too intense one. Did I tell you about the karaoke one? I had the idea to do karaoke every morning for a month, as a way to just like wake up, which I think could be a fun one. But then there's the concern of like being too loud for my family, but also maybe neighbors. I don't know that'll be that loud, but that could be fun. Also, there's a concern of copyright. If I want to make a video about it, can't really include all the songs. Maybe I can just make it so you don't hear the music and it's just me singing. That could be cool. Yeah. Oh yeah, the procrastination video's up now. How procrastination can be good. If you want to check that out, I'm pretty proud of that one. I think it's funny, fun, and hopefully useful. Another thing, my working out update. Still doing it. That's really all there is to say. I'm still doing it, and Speaking of the headaches I was having, when I work out, it kind of goes away, actually. It alleviates the headaches a little bit. And the running also alleviates the headaches a little bit. I read that that's a possibility, that exercise. It feels like you don't want to exercise when you have a headache, but apparently it can't, depending on the type of headache, it can make it feel better. So that's good. What else about working out? I don't know. People in the comments seem to say that they're noticing. It's hard for me to really notice much difference. I'm noticing that I'm losing weight, but the muscles and the shoulders and things that people comment on, I don't feel like I notice it that much. I do notice a little bit of muscle in my arm, but it happens so gradually that it's hard for me to notice. But I'm going to keep going. I'm just going to keep doing it and make sure I eat protein. I've been eating chicken, like a bunch of chicken. I've learned that chicken is, I kind of knew, I've heard from, celebrities talk about eating a lot of chicken when they're working out, but I didn't realize like how important that is. It's a ton of protein and hardly any calories. It's like really light way to get protein, and compared to any other meat, any other food really. So that's why they eat chicken. So I've been eating a lot of that. We have a rotisserie chicken upstairs. Just like I'll weigh it, and I'll be like, yeah, that'll be my protein for now. And I have a protein shake that I've been taking. I don't remember what it's called. It's a whey protein. Doing that every day or two. Never thought I'd be the type of person that would do this. Just paying attention to my protein intake, getting the gains. Just never. I remember talking about this a while ago, right here on the WheezyNews, about how like being the type of person you shouldn't even think. I try to avoid thinking that way, that I am this type of person or that type of person, because that keeps you from trying things. But yeah, it's true though. I never really felt like I was this type of person, but here we are. What does that even mean? That type of person? I'm a person who eats chicken and drinks shakes and cares about my body. I guess that's the type of person I am. That's about it. Thanks for listening to my rambles. I will see you. Oh yeah, it's Tuesday. This is a Wheezy Monday on a Tuesday, because yesterday was my birthday. 40 years old. I imagined I would have had a bigger party at 40. I remember my dad's birthday party when he turned 40, and it was huge. Tons of people there. It was a good time, and I was like, oh man, I can't wait for my 40th. It was my parents and my sister, for obvious reasons. But maybe we'll have a redo in a year or 2 or 3, depending on how long. Let's not get into that. Okay, check out that video, the procrastination video on the main channel. I do these kind of videos every single weekday on Patreon. They're a little shorter, but they're basically like this. And playlist of Wheezy Mondays on there somewhere. Thank you for your support and watching me, and all the kind words you say all the time, and all the mean words you say all the time. Thank you. Bye, everybody.